Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a wonderful day so far. I hope it's a goodie. For me, it's pouring down, so I am stuck inside. Anyway, a couple nights ago, I went and saw The Creator, the movie directed by Gareth Edwards, and it's basically set to the backdrop of a war between artificial intelligence, AI, versus humans, and then a former soldier played by John David Washington. He has to go and find the secret weapon, and the weapon is a child in a robot form. So yeah, that's pretty much the premise of this movie. And I think the year 2023, one of the big hot topics is AI. So it made it a little bit more interesting and intriguing. But that's not the main reason I was kind of excited for this one, although it was a bit diluted my excitement. The reason why I was excited is because we don't get this very often. We don't get those big budget blockbuster movies that are completely original. They're very rare, so you got to appreciate them when they come around. And sometimes, sure, they do suck. But, when they hit gold, they hit gold. And usually when they hit gold, then they become a massive franchise. But that's besides the point. The reason why I wasn't too excited, I do like Gareth Edwards. I'm not the biggest fan of the first Godzilla, which he directed. He also did Rogue One, and I don't like that movie at all. But apparently, with Rogue One, what Gareth Edwards was doing, it was really, really bad. That Disney thought that they couldn't release this, that they had to pay Tony Gilroy to come on to do the reshoots and to get another cut that could be released and that was satisfactory. And I didn't even like Rogue One. So to hear that news pretty recently before watching this movie, a little bit skeptical before it came out. But in terms of the box office for this movie, it's being predicted right now to be really not do well at all. And after seeing the movie, I think we got to support this one. I really do. Again, it's rare for these types of movies to come out. Now, the budget for this movie is only 80 million, so it can turn a profit pretty easily. But yeah, 100%, I recommend going out and supporting this one. It does deserve it. I do have my quarrels with it, and there are a lot of parts that I do really like as well. So, in terms of the narrative for this movie, I found it to be. I was very divided on it. The core storyline, I thought it was fine, but there are a lot of parts where I'm questioning things. I didn't feel anything, and all that type of stuff. So the main characters, I felt like we should have had a more of an emotional connection between some of the characters and care a bit more about their relationships, and we just don't. It all kind of falls flat on that side of things. And to the greater proportion of the movie is this war between artificial intelligence and humans. Now, how it portrays this war and the reasonings as to why the war is happening, it's very vague. And there's only really a couple of lines to really explain it on either side. And I find this to be a pretty weak part of the movie because a lot of the movie is trying to highlight the differences between AI and humans and question humanity and ask what being human really is. And this movie, it can't do it when it's set to the backdrop of a war that we can't completely buy into. And we can't buy into the war so much because we don't really know much about how it came around or how it really, came to be. And are humans being cruel here? Have AI gone completely rogue and trying to kill humans? We just don't really know much of that background information that would actually give us a lot more of a connection and stake into what's happening. I could invest a little bit more of myself and my thinking into kind of what side I think really has the moral high ground or whatever. But yeah, and then we go to the artificial intelligence in itself. I don't understand. And there was a conversation I was having after the movie. I just don't understand the AI in this because it's really hard to articulate. I don't want to give too much away, but the AI is what's the extent of it? How human are they? Because there's some AIs that like there was one AI that was like old and limping, and I'm like, how are you limping, and why are you like old and slow? Because we're told that they don't grow, that they're just kind of that they are just that AI robot for existence. They don't grow, they don't develop and get old as such as humans do. So did the creator really design an AI to be old? I just don't understand. And yeah, it really gives kind of a murky take on what AI is, and it really needed a little bit of time to kind of flesh out just the capabilities and a little bit more of the AI themselves and how they, I guess, operate and think, and can they feel, or is it just programming? We don't really know, and it's not explained enough. You go to something like Blade Runner 2049, and it's funny because Gareth Edwards actually mentioned Blade Runner as an influence to this movie. Don't know if it's Blade Runner 2049 though, but going back to Blade Runner 2049, that movie, I think the entire movie is about what it is to be human, and what it does. It's really meditative. It is really slow, but it's a beautiful take on it, and you really get a strong sense of this of the replicants and how human they really are. This one you don't. I think for it to really work, you probably need to have the protagonist be an AI and show the world through their eyes. I think that would have worked out a lot better, and it just didn't. But the overall story, it's fine. It's okay. It's a completely enjoyable and satisfactory watch. The characters are written fine. That's really the only kind of adjective that I can really describe the narrative right now. On the visual side of things, I think, yeah, I think this is a strong contender for best visual effects of the year, and even more impressive that it's only an $80 million movie. You would not think it from this. You would think it's about 150 to 200. It's really, really well done. I think there's only really a couple moments where I'm like, ooh, or like had a reaction to it. But for the most part, it's seamless. It blends into the story, and that is exactly what visual effects are meant to do. We shouldn't be shying away from visual effects, or we don't need to make everything as practical as possible. But the visual effects need to blend into the movie to be a seamless, component of it, and not to a point where we start noticing these errors, which we seem to be getting a lot of these days. But yeah, the visual effects are they're absolutely phenomenal. And another part of the movie that I liked but didn't love, that's the cinematography of it. Gareth Edwards is really good at capturing scale, and he does that to a little bit here. I think they could have done a little bit more with, some of the shots and the concepts used in the movie. There could have been a lot more to it. I think a lot of this is because of the cinematographers involved. So it had two cinematographers, and that is Greg Fraser and Oren Sofer. Now, we know Greg Fraser. He's a fantastic, masterful cinematographer. I think he recently did The Batman, and he's got something else coming out. Oh, I think he's doing Dune as well. I think so. I could be wrong. I could be wrong in that, but I'm pretty sure he did Dune, and he's doing Dune 2. He's definitely doing Dune 2. I remember now. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, Greg Fraser was heavily involved in this movie from the pre-production stage. So everything in pre-production, conceptualizing, storyboarding, all those kind of processes involved. He was a really big component in that, and that's why he's credited in the film as a cinematographer. So the on-set in filming cinematographer, which is Oren Sofer, this is his first major motion feature. So yeah, he's not bringing much experience to the table, but he's done a good job here. I think things are captured well. Sure, it could be better, but for the most part, it's really good. It's probably even a notch over your standard mediocre mid-tier budget movies anyway. So I think it's pretty good. Obviously, when it comes to performances and stuff, I have my criticisms on John David Washington. I think people heavily overrate his ability to act, but I don't think it's a case that he can't act. It's just that in terms of, charisma and that natural charm, I don't think he has it. It's just, it always eludes me, and I can never feel it. But in this movie, he's good. He's fine. He's a solid stand-in. I think a lot of people could have played this kind of role. Yeah, the movie also stars Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe, and Alison Janney. They're all fine, standard roles. I would say that the child in this movie, Madeline Una Volves, I might be pronouncing that one, fantastic. Really, really good. I was deeply surprised at how this child was almost acting better than all these, highly acclaimed actors in front of them. So very, very, very good job there. In terms of score and sound design, the sound design is fantastic. I think it's really good. It's very unique, and it kind of all these things. It builds a really strong soundscape for the movie, and you kind of get a really good feel for this new world that we're in while watching the movie, due to all these sounds and the uniqueness and how it all just kind of fits together. It's a really impressive soundscape. The score is done by Hans Zimmer, and I knew this just before going into the movie. And we all know Hans Zimmer. We know he can deliver masterpieces. Unfortunately, he doesn't here. It's good. It's fine. It's somewhat moving at times, but I think it could have been impactful a little bit more. I think it could have been more unique to Hans Zimmer's stuff. I think sometimes for Hans Zimmer's composed scores, a lot of it kind of blends together. He has a distinct sound, and he uses it a little bit too much here. I think when you're creating a whole new world like this, to use or to be a little bit more innovative and unique with it. Similar to what Hans Zimmer did on Dune, that's really unique. It's very different for him. It's new ground, and we get a entirely new sense of this world with that score. You don't really get that here. It feels like a Hans Zimmer movie, or Hans Zimmer composed score, I should say. But yeah, a little bit disappointed in that side of things. But yeah, that's basically my opinion there for this movie. Obviously, when it comes to the visual side of things, excellent. The screenplay, I would say, it's average. The story's just, it's missing a lot more, and that's okay. I don't mind with that at all. I'm completely fine with it. It's just that if you want the audience to buy in more, it's got to flesh out certain things where they need to be emotionally invested in, i.e. the artificial intelligence, because it aligns with the thematics of the film, the war, because, we need to be able to emotionally resonate with how the war is playing out. If I'm just seeing two groups fighting, and I don't really understand or know why, and I don't know the full extent, I don't know who to root for. I don't know, the emotional impact of it all, I guess. So again, yeah, it just needs to fix those kind of things. But if this film wants to go into a franchise, I don't think it can, or I don't think it should. I don't think it's lore heavy enough to really justify expanding into TV series and all these kind of movies connecting together. And perhaps they'll do like a Quiet Place kind of thing, where it has the prequel and it shows at the very start of the war, and rather than throw us right into the middle of things. That could be a take that would be interesting. But yeah, if it does that, there's so much to work on in terms of fleshing things out, but it's not something that's needed. I think we can just go to this movie. I think we can enjoy it for what it is, enjoy the fact that we're getting a completely new story and a new world, and just, enjoy it for what it really is, because it's quite rare, honestly. But yeah, go see this movie, support the box office. It really does deserve it. I think that's projected this weekend to open up between, I think it's like 12 to 17 million. Granted, it cost $80 million, but still, it should be making more than that. I highly, highly recommend going out and seeing it. It's a great popcorn flick, and it might challenge you a little bit. So yeah, go check it out. Anyway, that is going to do it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Perhaps you've seen it already. If you have seen it, feel free to go onto Twitter or Instagram at Movie Gains and flick us a message or just comment your thoughts, and we can have a conversation. I think it's a movie that some people are going to love, some people are going to hate, some people are going to be like me that fit around the middle mark. So yeah, feel free to do that. Anyway, that's it from me. You guys enjoy the rest of your day or rest of your evening, wherever you are. Till next time, guys, keep bringing the hype. Peace.